r/AskReddit. Why don't you talk to your once best friend anymore? He met his current girlfriend and slowly started neglecting his friends, instead hanging out with his girlfriend. Now it may sound petty, but I had known this guy for nearly 20 years from the first day of school. This girl also seemed to change him as a person, becoming a lot more spiteful and depressed. The straw that broke the camel's back for me was when I invited him to the pub for my birthday. Less than an hour before we were due to meet up, he texted me saying he was ill and couldn't make it. I said, that's cool man. If you are ill, I won't force you to come out. So I went out and met the rest of my friends at the pub. A couple of hours later, I see him and his girlfriend and some of her friends coming out of another pub close by. I confronted him then and there. I was slightly drunk at this point, so I did not hold anything back. It ended with me saying I was just fucking done trying with him and that he was not worth my time anymore. That was the last time I spoke to him, coming up on a year since that point. He cut me out of his life. He was my best friend for 15 plus years. We had grown a bit apart due to different lifestyle choices, but we always spoke at least once a week and found time to spend with each other. He was constantly talking about feeling stuck in our hometown and wanting to explore the world, but worried about paying for it. About 2 years ago, I helped him get a job with my company. It was not a very exciting job, but it paid twice as much as he was making before, so I figured it would help him save up for traveling. About 6 months into the job, we were working together and got into an argument. We had fought a few times in our friendship, and this did not seem any different than other times. I was over it by the time I went home. He missed the next 2 to 3 days of work, then emailed our manager saying he quit. He removed me from all of his friends lists and will not respond to phone calls, text messages, or emails. I admit I'm not the easiest person to get along with at times, but after a 15-year relationship, I would have liked to at least said a proper goodbye. It has been 18 months since he's talked to me. He was my guy, and now most days I feel alone. Edit. Thank you all for your kind words. I did not expect such a response to this. Despite what the internet may say, you guys are alright in my book. I lost my friends when my son died. Instead of being supportive, they harassed me to come out drinking or go to the bar, like I had just been through a breakup and needed to go out. No, literally 24 hours ago I buried my baby in the ground. Yeah, fucks. What is even more fucked, I said, I know you guys mean well, but I don't want to leave the house right now. My child just died. I'm losing my mind. You can come over or even watch TV with me. No one came. No one called. I was a bitch for shooting down going to the bar. Literally, the 4 girls I knew my whole life bailed on me when I needed them the most. It hurt. It hurts still, but fuck them is all I can say. People's true colors come out when you go through a tragedy, and it sucks. Edit. Wow, sorry guys. I didn't see all the upvotes I got. I'm having kind of a hard day already, and I'm staying busy. Thanks for the kibbed words, and I'm going down the line to answer questions. To clear one thing up, I did ask specifically for them to come also. I had a bereavement counselor straight away. The hospital has her come to your house even. She's an amazing woman and taught me how to ask for what I needed. Unfortunately, people still react very poorly to such a devastating loss. I'm in bereavement groups. Some on FB, one I run. One that's 20,000 deep even. I use that one a lot to see the similarities us bereaved moms share. It is echoed by all the huge loss of friends and even family that hurts so bad. Edit. I'm getting sleepy. I have tried to clarify and answer everything. I will write this final one real quick. If I missed something you want to know, I will answer in the morning. I was 23 when my baby passed at 6 weeks old and the youngest of the group. The other 4 were 24 to 27. One was a mother at that time and had been since late teens. Now there are 3 moms in that group. The only one without kids did get married last month and does want some. When I say they were asking B to go drinking, it wasn't so we could chill and talk, it was stop being so boring. Get dressed up, we are going to the clubs. Like I said, they were playing, like when one of us had a bad breakup. It started 24 hours after I buried my son and they gave up on me in about 2 weeks. Nobody called or sent a text if it didn't involve partying. Nobody asked how I was or took up my repeat offers to just please come over. I said fine, I need to talk, I will call myself. I got 2 calls back within days. They were about their drama. One was cheating and she didn't like her BF anyways. Another was fighting with one of my closer friends and wanted me to choose her side. So I did get snippy at that time and asked if they thought I cared. I said my son just fucking died. I'm losing my mind. No one calls or picks up until now and this is what I get. Thrown into a fight and cheating? I have to go. One of them had a tragedy 2 years later and lost a parent. I attended both services and was briefly acknowledged. Her parents and I were still very close. I still attempted to be there, but was shut out. One drunken night she did call and say she was sorry and thanks for being there for her when she wasn't for me. That was my only reach out from any of them. I wish no ill will upon anyone, that's awful. Saying fuck them though is easier than saying why. I learned life is too short for petty drama and people who don't really love you. Cliché as it sounds, it's true. I have good friends now. Thanks for all the comments, they mean a ton. I love all the ones that say they would have sat with me or let me cry in my alcohol. You all can still come on over. Thanks for the love today, Reddit. Long story short, I love the guy. I wish we saw each other more often, but he's the flakiest, most unreliable person I know. He treats everyone like they are barely worth his time. Make plans with the guy and it's a coin toss whether he'll even show up. I've known him for 10 years and it's only gotten worse, but I learned long ago that it's a waste of time to chase him. Edit. Good lord you people, he's not terminally depressed. He has a hot GF and seems to be having fun w/life. Edit 2. Jesus Christ, till my friend really just wants to kill himself so bad. Thanks Reddit. Read. 10 years I've known him, lots of ups and downs along the way for both of us. This is just the way he is. I've made my peace with it, why can't you? We grew apart. I needed emotional support during a very tough time and she wasn't interested in helping, so I ended it. This happened to me when I was a senior in college. My best friend from high school fell off the face of the earth when I needed her most. I had a precancerous tumor and had to have surgery. I was terrified and she wasn't there for me. It didn't make any sense. Almost a year after we stopped speaking, a mutual friend informed me that her father had just lost his battle to cancer. I had no idea he had it. She wasn't there for me because she had to be there for her father, and I then understood that she probably couldn't emotionally handle both situations at the same time. It was then when I decided I would take a chance and attend the wake. I was so nervous when I got there because I hadn't seen her in over a year, but when I walked in and she saw me, she immediately burst into tears and gave me the biggest hug. To this day, that moment was one of the best I ever experienced. I got my friend back. A year and a half after that, I was the maid of honor at her wedding. I know not every situation turns out as well as mine, and I'm sure there are people who bail because they simply don't care, but in my case all it took was a bold effort by me and it worked out in the end. She'd only really message me if she wanted something. If she was down I'd try my best, but if I was upset it was oh I'm really not in the right place right now. Talk later, which is fair enough, but I always tried to help her. She'd also message me screenshots of the argument with her boyfriend. They're a shit couple and my advice is always either dump him or talk it out, which is never what she wants to hear. But what am I supposed to do about it? I guess she just wants validation. She's right to be annoyed, but she can be really unreasonable sometimes. Oh, and then she asks for money under some bullshit pretense and then buys weed. I know I shouldn't fall for it, and I've stopped now, but it now. Edit. I'm a girl. I don't just say dump him or talk it out, I put it nicely. Perhaps try counseling? That type of thing, and I'll listen to what she's saying first. I do try my best to figure out where she's coming from, but they dated before. He cheated, she forgave him, and they've been going out again since. Being around her became very draining. She was my best friend since kindergarten. She was never able to talk about anyone but herself, and eventually, the only jokes she'd make were severely self-depreciating. About her weight, her depression, all her flaws, serious things that I could not laugh about, and brought the mood down every time. She had social anxiety, so we were never able to go out and make new experiences together, and while I tried so hard for so many years to keep her actively included in group activities, she just did not cooperate, but complained when I didn't do it. All of our conversations ended up remember when we did this, half laughing at stale decade-old in-jokes and playing single-player video games that she wouldn't share. I was supposed to think watching is just as fun. It worked like this our whole lives. We are 20 now. Her goal is to never leave her parents' house and be on welfare the rest of her life. They enable this. I basically ghosted when we graduated high school. I feel terrible, but I felt worse when I had to look after her. My high school best friend. We weren't very alike at all. Anna was this super bubbly and cheerful feminine girl, and I was a sarcastic pile of nerd in vaguely human form. A kind of geek tomboy. We actually meshed pretty well, but from the get-go, she was the kind of person who'd turn up to parties on the wrong day because she'd get mixed up. Her parents didn't like me much because I was into heathen stuff like Lord of the Rings. Anna couldn't form an opinion if it wasn't exactly the same as her dad's. I remember in 2006, she argued vehemently that there was no future in IT because her dad said it was a waste of time. Facts didn't matter if her dad didn't like them. We stayed close until after school ended, and since our birthdays were only a week apart, we always had a combined party. 3 weeks before my 18th, I got tickets to a convention. I called her that day to let her know that we'd have to do separate parties. I asked if she wanted to come to the con with me. She said no, not her thing. Cool. Literally the day my group is going, she calls to ask when she can expect us around to her place for the party and ice skating. I remind her that we are going to the con. She loses her shit at me, gets real nasty over the phone and hangs up. Calls everyone else to try to convince them to ditch the con and come to hers. They all say no. She calls my parents and tries to get them to stop me from going and tells them I'm on drugs. Yeah, no. Went, but the whole thing was soured by her reaction. I don't think she ever spoke to me again herself, but I'd often meet people in my social circles who treat me like trash because of what you did to Anna. Took ages for people to stop thinking I was a complete and utter bitch. Maybe they just grew up. Either way, bit of a shit end to a 6-year friendship. He's become more and more toxic. I still love him like a brother, but every single thing he does is a cry for help or attention, then won't accept help or attention. He has become your stereotypical depressed edgy atheist neckbeard teenager. I didn't realize how badly he was affecting my life until recently, after spending some time not hanging out with him, but hanging out with my other friends and girlfriend. That doesn't change the fact that he's like a brother to me, and I owe my life to him. I'm just not sure how to help him at this point. He begs and begs for attention and help in roundabout ways, but as soon as I try to help he completely ignores it or plays the whole "oh I'm fine dude, stop trying to help," but then the next day sends me or my girlfriend a text about how his depression is so bad. It hurts, man, it really does. All I want to do is help him, but he won't accept any, and I have to sit on the sidelines as he slowly destroys his own life. To add on to all that, he is a compulsive liar, especially when telling stories of real life situations. We'll be talking, and he'll be telling a story about work, and we'll be "oh yeah," and then I yelled "fuck you" to my boss. And it's just like, no you didn't, man. You can't even talk to people you've known for years because you have social anxiety. I know I haven't been the greatest friend, but I always try my best, man, I do. I think I've gotten better over the years, I really do. It's just this constant cycle of, "hey dude, something's wrong. What is it? Don't be afraid to tell me, man, it's okay. Oh, nothing dude, never mind. But there's this really hot chick at my new job. Then he proceeds to ask out the girl after a month or so. He's a nice guy now, but he's also a nice guy, so things go south, and then he gets super depressed after a rejection. It's long. Sorry about that in advance. About half a year before us falling out, her boyfriend breaks up with her. She was super upset, and for some reason completely cuts me out of her life. We spent the everyday together, and at that point we were friends for 7+ years, but I just continued being the supportive friend and messaged her once in a while to see if she was doing alright. She would ignore me. This went on for about 4 months. Out of the blue one day in September she messages me and asks to meet up for lunch. I'm ecstatic because I missed her, and we meet up that afternoon. It was good, and she told me she was seeing a therapist, and we just let the elephant in the room sit in the corner. We didn't discuss her reasons for cutting me out. Then at the end of the conversation, she says that her and her ex got back together. My response was, okay, is that really good for you? I honestly like the guy and still hang out with him once in a while now, but he was not a very good boyfriend to head / they just weren't compatible. Eventually around October he breaks up with her again, and his place is a few blocks from mine, so she comes over and is absolutely hysterical. I put her in mine and my boyfriend's bed and just hold her for a little and try to calm her down. It was about 11 PM and I had classes the next day, but my boyfriend at the time slept on the couch so that she and I could be alone. After an hour or two I got up and went to go get her some water or whatever she asked for. I come back to her swallowing a bunch of pills she had in her bag in a Ziploc bag, unmarked. I immediately put my fingers in her mouth to try to make her throw up, scream at my boyfriend to call an ambulance, and she's completely melancholic and won't tell me what she swallowed. Ambulance came, she went to the hospital, they admitted her to a psych ward for monitoring, and when she was released she seemed broken. For a few months, November, she was like a puppy and followed me everywhere. I didn't mind and invited her to Thanksgiving and even preemptively to Christmas with my family. At the end of November, another friend of mine passes away and I'm having a tough time. Fast forward another week and I get dropped once again. No communication, nothing. It's radio silence from her as soon as I needed a friend to support me instead of everyone else supporting her. A few months later she messages me and says she needs to talk. I think, okay, one last failed ditch attempt. Go to Starbucks near my place, order drinks and sit down. Her first words to me are, "You're the worst friend I've ever had. You're a fucking cunt, and I hate you for not letting go me die." I let her yell at me for about 10 minutes, then I'd had enough at this point. I said, when things in your life are going right, when you have a boyfriend, a husband, a family, you'll remember me and how bad of a friend I was for caring about you and loving you. She responded with, "You're a dumb bitch." I dumped my drink on her, iced tea lemonade, which is by far the most dramatic, rude, and actual bitchy thing I've ever done, and I walked out, blocked her, and have not spoke to her ever since. It's been 4 years, and the mutual friends we had still tell me she asks about me. Because I abused his love, kindness, and support. I was in a terrible place in my life, and had an emotionally abusive ex that I couldn't stay away from, and I would drop my friend every time the ex would take me back. I was terrible to him. What really sucks is that I think somewhere deep down I was a little bit in love with my friend, but I never ever thought he would feel the same, and so I ended up being fucking awful to him. I actually dreamed about him last night. I think I'm going to send an apology email. We casually talk now, but I think I need to suck that poison out of my life still. Edit. I sent him an email. Edit 2. He responded. It was really nice. He just said, "We know we had our ups and downs, but he always remembers the good times, and he thinks we will be friends for a long time, even if we had some years where we don't talk as much." It was good. I feel like I got it off my chest, and I can move forward knowing I've said I was sorry. Thanks everyone. My best friend ghosted on me. We met in 3rd grade and were thick as thieves until I went to college. While I can recognize I wasn't the greatest friend always, it was 100% her choice to stop being my friend. I admit it still hurts nearly a decade later. I never got closure, and I doubt I ever will. I'm not sure she has thought out why, or would give me the honest truth if I asked. She should have been my maid of honor, and it makes me really sad when I think of that. I try to remind myself that she caused drama for me. She was really passive aggressive and wouldn't talk to me when I did something to bother her. She also never opened up to me about anything bothering her in other aspects of her life. I don't need that back in my life. But I do miss the great times we had, all the inside jokes, the way we knew what was on each other's minds. We absolutely killed at the game Taboo, and I have never gotten that close with anyone again. But I did read a really beautiful sentiment recently, which I will try to capture here. The people you have in your life grow and occupy space in the tapestry that makes up your life. When they are gone, it makes a hole where they used to be. The memories and love are still there, and may always be there. So don't look at your tapestry as filled with holes, look at it as your own unique lace pattern. The pattern isn't over, but it is constantly changing. The pain of loss doesn't ever really go away, but it does lessen over time. If you ever need to talk, send a PM. My high school best friend thought, after many bad decisions despite my attempted guidance, it was a good idea to get kicked out of the military and then shake his 2-week-old baby girl twice. This guy who used to hang out with me and my family. My brother is 16 years younger than me and grew up around this guy. WTF. My other best friend thought it would be fun to turn people on me by telling them lies about me. He told one friend that I only fucked her because he fucked my female best friend. That was bullshit, but she hates me now. I loved that girl. Wanted to be with her. He then told another friend I wanted to sleep with his wife, which I never did. I just got that friend back after 5+ years. He also believed other people when they said I was cheating on my wife with someone nearly 1,000 miles away. I wasn't and never have cheated on my wife. He's apologized for that one, and we still talk occasionally when I go to my home state, but it can never be the same. He ended up having an affair with the long-term partner of another very close friend. Told me once I returned from overseas, and I basically was forced to keep this secret, while the two of them, unemployed, did God knows what, while the boyfriend was working long shifts to cover their living costs. Tried to convince them to tell the guy, since I couldn't bear with it, but they wanted to hold out for Christmas, so they could get gifts. Things blew up one night when my then best friend had a jealous screaming match with the girl, resulting in her leaving in tears. He then redirected the anger at me, since I didn't know what he was going through. Ended up losing my shit at him, and he sent me a text later that night saying that I couldn't be trusted. Soon after they told the boyfriend, who was completely crushed, and they made it Facebook official, which received the most brutal reaction from everyone who knew, all parties involved. Fast forward 5 years and everything's blown over. Still regret not manning up and telling the boyfriend. Everyone's worked it out amongst themselves, but damn has that instilled some pretty strong trust issues in me. Best friends for years. She lived across the street, and we understood each other in a way that only another kid from a piss-poor hick family could. She moved out of her abusive parents' dilapidated house the end of high school, then met Wayne. He was 7 years older, had children, and liked to party. It turned out to be an abusive relationship. This asshole would jokingly choke me as a greeting. They moved in together, and I stopped coming around. She once told how much it upset her that I, her sister, hadn't seen first apartment until months after they moved in. I kept telling her to leave the scumbag. She didn't until she caught him cheating on her. So, she throws herself into school and work. We are still talking daily. Then I find out that I'm pregnant. Things are still fine, but we only saw each other twice my whole pregnancy. Once my son was born, we stopped talking much. She came over once in the early months, and twice more leading up to his first birthday. Now, we rarely speak. I always initiate. Our most recent conversation was about my second child. She's 6 months already. I can't believe I haven't met her yet. I'll definitely hit you up next week and we can plan something. Yeah, that never happened. Today is her birthday. We used to text each other at 12:01 to be the first to say happy birthday. She texted me 2 days late this year. I'm salty, so I don't think I'll be sending any wishes. Such an insignificant tradition, and I didn't think it would hurt this much to lose it. Editing to add, I have to clarify. This girl lived at my house for a period. We considered each other sisters. She would come over, just to sit on the couch, drink tea, and watch Disney movies, popping each other's zits. It was that level of comfort. So this guy drive a wedge between us. I couldn't stand to see him hurting her, in the same way her father abused her mother. She knew what was going on, but she wouldn't leave. So I took myself physically out of his way. I still provided her with emotional support, and we'd see each other at my place or out. Not much changed, until I got pregnant. After the baby, she could have came over and held my him while folded laundry. She could have invited me for coffee, or accepted my invitation, while my husband watched my son. It's really fucking hard to convey the enormity of the loneliness I was feeling in the months after having my son. It felt like I was drowning. I reached for her, and she pulled away. I don't blame her. I just miss her. She enjoyed belittling me whenever we argued over something, and not only put details of said arguments online, she twisted it to make me look like I was 100% at fault and painted herself as the victim. She did that to everyone, and she probably still does. She picks fights over such minor things and involves herself in things she shouldn't. The last straw, however, was her insulting my fiancé. Once we both blocked her, she found out via a different account that she had made it public, as she always does. We then started getting threats from her, which just confirmed we made the right decision in kicking her out of our lives. I had wanted to leave for years, but I was too scared to go. I knew her for 11 years. She's 9 years older than me, 33, yet her maturity levels are way behind for someone of her age. During the years we were friends, she didn't mature in the slightest, and I don't believe she ever will. Part of me feels sorry for her actually. We were huge buddies at university, then went our separate ways for career. But the week before I emigrated, I traveled across the country to his hometown and we camped out in an abandoned quarry, building shacks, making fires, drinking whiskey and talking bullocks. It was my last great time in my homeland before leaving. During that trip I met his new girlfriend, just long enough for a cup of coffee before we went out. She seemed nice, and I was glad he'd found someone. Fast forward 3 years, and he invites me back for a guy's weekend before he gets married. We go karting, paintball, drinking, all the usual stuff. It's just him and me in his little house in his village, and I ask where his wife Toby is, since they're clearly living together at this point. Oh, she's gone to stay at her mother's for a few days. That was nice of her, giving you space to let off some steam, I casually comment. Not really, he says. She just doesn't like me when I'm around you. That sentence was a slap in the face that still stings a decade later. I'd met the girl for 15 minutes 3 years earlier, and she'd taken an instant dislike to me. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I'd said to offend her so badly, and my friend never volunteered any further information. We still had a great weekend together, he and I, playing hungover golf and eating all the student shit we'd survived on years before, but there was always that nagging thought in my mind of what had I done? What didn't she like? Is it me in particular or just something I represent? I was invited to the wedding, but I couldn't get rid of that nagging thought that the bride despised me, so I made my excuses and didn't go. I've only spoken to him once since, via SMS, to congratulate him on the birth of his kid, and that was 5 years ago. I know he's got a happy life now, and I don't want to turn up and spoil it. Thank you so much for watching the entire video. I would be so grateful if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel. New videos every day.